Hi, welcome back to Currency. Good to have you on. I'm glad to be back doing another episode. It's good to be alive. I prefer happiness to sadness. And am I that happy? No, but I'm not sad. I am on the happy side. And that's all that you would need, I guess. It's just like, I think that that's all you would need for people to like you eventually. And people will be like, hey, read the room. And I don't think so. I think read a book. I think that's what reading is for. Because reading the room would take too long. Especially if it's a bar and they have like menus and stuff. You know how long that would take? To find all the stuff you have to read in a room. To read the room, that would take forever. But when people say read the room, they just mean, like, for as far as stand-up comedy is concerned, they just mean be popular. They just mean be cool. Be cool, be popular. And people say be cool, they mean be popular. Hey, be cool. Chill out. Be like everybody else. Be people-ish. Be popular. Easy way to be popular is to be cool. So, like, when people say read the room, they just mean be popular. Which isn't bad advice for stand-up comedian. I just cut right to the chase. Just be popular. That's what every comedian needs to do. That's the only rule that there is. Just people don't want to talk about popularity. I'm not sure why. They hide it in other things like relatability. They are fine with talking about relatability. People don't want to mention, it's kind of like popularity, except for like Little Miss Sunshine, that movie. That's what they specifically mentioned popularity as the thing that they were going against, as they don't like popularity contests. Popularity contests, yeah, I mean, no, it's not. Popularity contests aren't that great, but it's just inevitable in this world. If you want to achieve great success, which I don't do in my life, but I mean, I'll talk about it. I'll talk about great success. But that's what makes me, is that the willingness to not have humility in certain areas. And I'll get to that in a minute. I don't know. There's a lot on the docket. I got to do this episode. I mean, and because it is time to produce this episode. Because this train never stops. But sometimes it doesn't go out weekly. The train doesn't make a stop regularly like a regular train. Like a train with no digestive issues. It's not like that kind of train. I have indigestion. That's my kind of train. I don't stop at the same place every time. They're like, this train arrives at 7:20 every Monday. I'm not that train. I have indigestion in just a metaphysical way. And sometimes a physical way, but it's like relatability is really relatable. And that's why people bring it up. People are like, I love your relatability. It's kind of dumb. I'm saying like relatability is like popularity. It's a word that people use to get out of telling people to be popular, or like, we like it when you're being popular. I wonder why people don't want to say that. Or they got to say like relatability. But it's a dumb thing to hold up relatability because it's the easiest thing in the world. We shouldn't praise people for being relatable, but that's what everybody does in this current year, 2025. So they're like, that's so relatable, and so therefore you are praiseworthy. I like whoever, Shane Gillis. Like, Shane Gillis is kind of a troll. I saw a clip of it was like Peyton Manning, and the title of the clip was like Peyton Manning trolls Shane Gillis about his high school football career. And I saw the video, but I just thought, like, nobody trolls Shane Gillis because he's the troll, definitely. And he is like Chris Farley in the respect that there sense of humor only ever resorts to self-deprecation and like masochism. Where it's like it only ever ends up being I'm the loser, I suck. And it's like that is in my opinion that's the kind of comedy that Christians like because it's very relatable. But there's so many Christians that it's like you gain a big audience being relatable in that way. But it's like there's a lot of comedians that don't do that where they're just like you got to power through the self-deprecation. It's just like Shane Gillis might die early or something like Chris Farley did because that runs out at some point. I mean, everything runs out. It runs out for everybody to varying levels. Like it's running out for Theo Von and Joe Rogan as well, even though they aren't like only self-deprecators. But we shouldn't be upholding people for just like being relatable because it's the easiest thing in the world. Like everybody shits. Everybody like being relatable is just I woke up in the morning. That's not something you should put on a pedestal just naturally. It shouldn't be on a stage. But people are like, wow, your relatability is not like, it's kind of like a joke or it's a troll that the fans play on the performers. And I feel like everybody who's an audience member is a troll and is a critic. And I'm just using those terms really generally. Like I don't condemn them. I don't think it's a bad thing to be a critic or a troll really, because it's just like everyone who's not producing the shit, anybody who just listens to music and doesn't play it, I would say is a critic of music, basically. And it's just like the fans at a concert are like trolls of the thing, or like trolls of the performer in some ways, not entirely. I mean, like, I love the Wisconsin Badgers football team. I wouldn't say I'm like a troll of them. I mean, yeah, it is different to be a fan than to be just solely a critic, but there's just a lot of criticism that comes with it where it's like you're always criticizing the team like, oh, they should be doing this, they should get this coach and recruit better and whatever. When you're the fan, you're always just like critical of the thing on the pedestal because it's like these are the people that do what I can't. So it's like I'm only in a position to criticize, not that I have to go about it in a negative way, but like criticizing. It's like the fans always want you to do something good, and then if you don't, they're going to be critics, basically. And so they're I mean, like, you know, you're always being held to a standard when you put yourself on a stage. And not that I am more stage-worthy than other people to say any of that, but this is just my knowledge. These are my secrets. And because I'm privileged. I mean, like, nobody talks about that from their first-person perspective where they're like, I walk around comparing myself to the other males. Nobody says that directly. People will reference it, like, scientifically or whatever. But just from their first-person perspective, nobody says that. Even though, like, that's something that for years and years I walk around comparing myself to my peers in the hierarchy and whatever. I mean, I guess it doesn't have to be males. It's like, I mean, it's females are also professionals in the, whatever. But regardless. And I guess, I mean, I don't know why people don't talk about that. Because it would be less anxious for people if we sorted everything out. Because it gets sorted out regardless. Anyway, it's just when people don't talk about it. But I guess I bring it up. It just brings me joy to think about that I'm a monkey. And if I have evidence for that, like I do the same thing like that males have done for hundreds of thousands of years. Once I realize that, which is like, I do sort of know that, but there's kind of a big secret going on where I mean, not that it's being played on me in particular. It's not personal to me. It's just like a society-wide where it's like we're trying to be progressive, I guess, and not we don't want to give rise to that we are monkeys to begin with. But I guess it's the same thing as like Lady Gaga found that she's more popular, the more clothes that she takes off. It's like people, I mean, ultimately people crave that because we try to repress it so much, or suppress it, whichever one works. We try to suppress that so much, and conservatives basically are the issue. This is what I run into. Yeah, I mean, they're probably the ones that repress that the most. I mean, it's Christians that don't want there to be a competition, and they're like, definitely that's part of their value system, and that's what they would try to influence other people to believe if they were influencing other people. That's what they believe in their churches. It's just, it's not a competition. It's like very peaceful. That's got to be part of the reason why nobody says, like, why does nobody mention that? That's what I don't really get. And then I'm walking around here, I don't even know that I'm a monkey. Or like, I don't like seriously tell myself I'm that. Because I mean, like, I never even thought to, like, I don't know. I didn't think about articulating that, or like, that's okay. That's okay that I do that, you know? I didn't realize that until recently. That's all right to do. Walk around comparing myself to other males, like who's above who. It gives me so much stress and anxiety that I didn't accept that I do that. And I didn't accept that I do that because I don't see anybody saying it from their first person thing, like that actually happens. Like, I'm kind of dumb. I'm almost like, I mean, obviously I'm smart and dumb. But everybody says that they're dumb. You would rather be smart, I think, in the world. The world would rather rewards you more for being smart. But it's just, so that's why I share with you is the joy, I don't know, I guess the relief that it brings me for being able to call myself a monkey. And that's what kind of makes me happy, is just like that, the idea that I'm common. And that's the best. And why is that? I think that that's just the way that I am. I'm kind of annoyed at myself for getting on here. I made an episode, I was talking about like, oh, I was Christian and then I switched. And that's not really the case, because, I mean, I would rather emphasize that I've been like the same person every day of my life. And there was a good example that I had for that as to why I am the same person every day, but I can't think of what it was. But that's all right. People don't want to hear the personal stuff that much. So, I mean, that's one of the secrets that I'm on here, to be like, that's why I don't act like a privileged person, because privileged people would not spend a minute communicating like the hierarchy, because they'd rather people not talk about it, because if it gets talked about, then it gets brought out into the open, like same as admitting that there was a problem or something. Just that there an admittance of it at all, that is more spoken about, that it's more communicated. Like, people who have money would rather the things that gave them money be kept secret entirely. Like, let's not even begin to talk about what the structure is. And so it's the rich people that don't want that spoken about. So if I come out and I'm saying things like, we need to talk about who's the over criticizer and who's the under criticizer, that's not something a privileged person would do. Not saying I am privileged, but like, I'm a liberal, and I gotta get out of this Christian city for sure. I actually am gonna move out. I have to move away, I realize. And that is just something that occurs. That's something that occurs. And I'm in a house with 3 conservative-ass roommates, and I need a wide berth from them for sure. So I got to move out of the house at least, because they're all conservative, and I'm half a liberal. And so that means that I'm like 1,000% liberal in their eyes. If you're half a liberal to a conservative, you're the most liberal. You're the most gay. If you are the most gay person in a group of conservatives, you're just gay. That's how it works. It doesn't matter, you're like 20%. I could be 20% liberal. I'm like a flaming liberal to them. And basically, Conservatives are. I don't really act like a conservative. That's what I'm saying, and I'm saying it more to the comedy community. I'm like, don't blame me for being privileged. Whatever. I mean, obviously, there's nothing I could say about the way that people end up. I mean, the way that other people consistently treat you, I don't think gets changed. But you know, life comes at you fast, especially when the recorder is on. It's faster when the recorder there's more. You have to speed it up, or it's like you have to get to the next. You have to get to a point that people will be interested in. I was reading about Venezuela and their history, and they're having a pretty bad like century. They had an oil boom in the 40s. So they discovered oil. It's like, who's not discovering oil in their country? Oil is everywhere. It's like, oh, and then Venezuela is. I always want to say Venezuela or something like that. It's actually Venezuela. Venezuela is what I want to say. But it literally means Little Venice, and that is to the detriment of Venezuela. That they're literally the translation, like the Wela part of it is like a diminutive. It's like a thing about. It's like a Spanish way of saying little, or like that's the end of the word. Is like denotes that the rest of the word was something small, and so it's like Venice little is what that means. And Amerigo Vespucci gave it its name because he's from Italy, and he's been to Venice, and he saw their houses, and he's like, oh, their houses look like the houses in Venice, but I guess like on a smaller scale, Little Venice, he called the area. And Venezuela, unfortunately, ended up a very large swath of territory ended up taking that name as its country name. And I don't know, like, you don't really want to be like little anything in the world. It just I feel like it leaves you subject to tyrannical behavior or something. That's what like little countries would do. Just like be run by tyrants. Like poor, pathetic places get run by tyrants. Like, I don't know. Cuba, I guess I wouldn't say it was little, but I guess they're probably not run by a tyrant anymore or whatever. Cuba is supposed to be like strong. Where Cuba is strong, and maybe it's all a front. Maybe they're compensating. Like, you're run by if you're run by tyrants, you're not that strong of a country. No offense. No offense to Cuba. First of all, no offense to Cuba. That's what I have. That's what my flag says. That's what the flag of Matt Connor says. It says no offense to Cuba on it. And what are the colors of that flag? I don't think I should get into that. It'll be racially insensitive. It'll be all the colors of the rainbow. Now you think I'm saying that it's just all white. It's just a plain white flag. What are the colors of that flag? It's all white. My God. I wish. This is my flag. It's all white and it says no offense to Cuba on it. I don't really know. I'm looking into changing it. I'm trying to pass bills through Congress, but Parliament is just like fucking my shit up. Parliament is not. I do not have a majority in Parliament to pass the bill to change my flag. But it's going to be, there's a bill in the works. It's going to be like black and green and then like a little hint of white. I'm going to become a black person in the future. I don't know if I got to do like skin grafts or whatever. And once that happens, then my flag will be black. It's like that Lil Wayne where he was like, my flag red. And that's the kind of attitude that I want to embody. It's like my flag. Unfortunately, look, I'm not going to say my flag black. And those are the facts. Those are the facts, FAX. But we're getting it passed in Congress to change my flag colors. What am I on about today? I need to find time to do this I don't want to do this when my roommates are here because I'm a liberal. And so I just woke up and I'm like, I got to do this before somebody comes back. I don't think it. I think that that's right. You know, you might be like, well, that's weird. You can. I mean, of course, I would do it when nobody was here. So it's like a little weird. Where it's like it's kind of a secret. Like, oh, I got to go and do this. But obviously, that's how you get things done. Like, you got to do something weird in order. Like, if you're recording yourself, it's already weird. So it's not that big a deal. So I will tell you, my audience, that I wait till my roommates aren't here and then I start recording it. And so like they're all not here and I woke up and I'm like, this is my time. And so I'm blaming it on that I'm tired in case it's like not interesting enough. That's basically what it is. Everybody's got to find something to blame. And it's an epidemic, just like the blame something other than yourself. I just think shit emanates from the church. I think that the pressure that people feel, the anxiety they feel about not being able to articulate anything about like who's above who, or like you're not supposed to say I'm a winner. You'll get teased by the group into not thinking you're superior or anything like that. Like you're not. That's why it's like people don't want. Nobody is walking around like I'm the winner. I'm the best. You get fucked by society. And so nobody wants to say that. Nobody wants to say I'm a loser. You're cast down for saying that as well. Like being anything more than like it's just so you're a loser. Oh, you can't be that. We're just like losers run this nation. Basically, losers make this nation go. Like that's the heart and soul of this nation. Is like losers working. You know, it's like it's not just somebody not just a deadbeat. Losers work. They go to work. And, like, it's just that, yeah, it's conservatives that are always denying their primitive selves, and they're denying the theory of evolution. And it's like the theory of evolution, when conservatives are more in power in popular culture like they are now, then there's all these, it's like floated around in popular culture like creation is the thing. Like, oh, evolution isn't even real. Like Tucker fucking Carlson will be like, no, creation. And then people will be like, yeah, creation's the thing now. Creation's back. And shit, not looking at porn is back. And I feel like it's conservatives are that. And that's the same reason why people have to walk around like loving humility. And that's one of the things, that's what I want to bring up, is that's one of the things that people blame things on. Anything can be used to blame something on, but like we live in a culture where you gotta blame it on something, and it's because of the influence of Christianity, in my opinion, because they made sin famous, because they made sin a thing. It's like I'm so humble, like I got humbled and all of that. What I'm saying is like I have humility, and but I don't have to spend any time talking about humility. And there's an episode that I did where I was doing an interview with Def Goldblum, and I mentioned that, and I remember mentioning that I don't have to be proud of anything. Like me, I don't. What would I be proud of? And I didn't end up explaining the point, which is that I meant to say I don't need to be proud of anything. I don't need to be humble about anything. I'm saying like I don't need to deal with that drama of pride and humility. Like why does that get brought up at all? It doesn't need to get brought up. And just in general, I do feel like I should be proud of things. I would rather be proud than be humble. But basically what I meant to say was, what do I need to be humble about? Nothing. Absolutely nothing do I need to be humble about. Ever give credit or blame to humility for anything. And that's just like one of the things that is easy to do, because like Christians and then auxiliary people that they influence that aren't Christians but basically do their bidding by abiding by the same morals but not necessarily going to church. Like Christians influence a lot of people that aren't Christians. There is a big community of humility. Like people will always got your back for being humble or admitting it. Like, oh yeah. And that's unnecessary because we are already humble. You don't need to say the mantra like as if it was Heil Hitler or something, like to say that you're part of the group. So say the words, say please and thank you, say you're humble. That's what people need you to do, apparently, just looking at Shadur Sanders. Like, well, no, say the magic word, and then we'll like you. Say you're humble. Like, humility should not be prioritized, because, like, we all do it all the time. We all have to deal with it because of all the people that love it so much. We already just live in that. So it's not something that we need more people standing up to humility, basically. We need more people like me to be like, humility sucks. Because if I get humbled, it already happens. I already have humility. I'm like, fuck any of that. That's what gives me the position to talk about it. We have enough people standing up to cancer. I don't remember if I said, but like, forgiveness is dumb too. Like, if somebody comes at me and they hate me, I'm not going to forgive them. Like Donald Trump when Rob Reiner, whatever, died. Rob Reiner died, and then Donald Trump was like, Rob Reiner died. Donald Trump was like, Rob Reiner died. Rob Reiner's dead. Now he's gone. His kid stabbed him, and he is bad for that. He's bad for getting stabbed by his children. I can't do impressions this early in the morn. Don't ask me to do it. Stop asking me. The audience demands so much out of me. But they don't really, because they're like, whatever. They're like, whatever, I guess I'll hear whatever this is about. That's what they say when they click on my episode. Well, I guess we'll hear what this is. Fuck. Who knows what kind of bullshit he's gonna say this time. Something like that. They might say something like that. But I just wanted to say that forgiveness is, forgiveness ain't what it's all cracked up to be. Because if Donald Trump was like Rob Reiner actively, openly hated Donald Trump and hated Donald Trump's politics, and then like people will be like angry at Donald Trump for him not liking Rob Reiner after the fact. Donald Trump's like, no, Rob Reiner sucks. He had Trump derangement syndrome. I don't care that he died. And then people will be like, hey, Mr. President, you have to say something good about him because you're the leader of this country, or else you don't have leadership qualities. If you don't suck Rob Reiner's dick, you're not a good guy. You don't deserve to be leading this country. If you don't suck off Rob Reiner's flaccid dead dick until he comes, Mr. President, then you don't have leadership qualities. Guy who was elected president twice. That's what people will be like, think that he's supposed to be on Rob Reiner's side or something. Like he's supposed to forgive him. And then or else we're gonna start thinking you're not a leader. Something like that. But like that's what I think, is that if somebody hates you, you would be a clown to be like, I like them, or pretend that they liked you, or that you were all in agreement. Forgiveness is clownish behavior in a lot of respects. It's like saying that somebody that hates you doesn't hate you. It's like, no, they like me. It's like, no, I forgive them and whatever. Like, I love them anyway. Like, loving everybody. Which is what Christians especially do all the time. It's like they love whoever, no matter what, strangers. Like, no, we forgive you. That's not that, and it's just like, I mean, it's entirely condescending if you're looking at it rationally. If you're being serious, because it's like, oh, somebody really hates me, and then you're like, I love my enemy. That's what Jesus did. He turned the other cheek, or like he loved, you know. It's just that if somebody hates me, I hate them, and that's what Donald Trump did to Rob Reiner, and that's the way that it should be, because it's like I just don't really. I'm only speaking from my perspective, which is that I don't really like forgiveness. When I was in the church, I was very forgiving, and then once I found out that I wasn't going to hell for eternity, if I just for not forgiving. If I didn't forgive every person for everything or whatever. Like, I was very forgiving when I was in the church. Once I found out that I wasn't guilty of hell, which is like, guilt of hell will cause you to do some good shit, like forgive everybody. So, obviously, and there's an argument for like, that's good if you can hypnotize yourself into thinking that forgiveness is real, or like you could be a person that somehow forgives everybody all the time. There's an argument for that. Convincing yourself of that would make everybody good, but it's like, for me, it was kind of a matter of hypnosis until I was no longer hypnotized by it, and so now it's like, oh, the other way, like, because without that, in reality, it's like, no, I would not forgive anybody for anything, and that's not a bad thing. It's just realistic. Forgiveness is clownish behavior. It would be clownish to go up to somebody and be like, I forgive you for anything. To take that time to do that. First of all, like, if it wasn't spoken of between you beforehand, you're like, you don't even know if you're in a position to forgive them. Or it's like they hate you as much as it was just as bad for them as it was for you. So it's like, so you would be in the position to be like, I'm above you. I forgive you for the shitty thing you did to me. I mean, that part of it is bad, but just taking the time to do that at all is completely ridiculous, just like as far as social customs are concerned. Like, I forgive you. Forgiveness is nonsense. Like, if you're gonna, and same thing as humility. That's not to say that it doesn't happen. It's like, it already happens. It's really, in my opinion, it's just more about like, whatever. You can forgive if you want. I just tend to think that that's because even the people that believe in like forgiving all the time, they don't go up to somebody and say, I forgive you. Even the people that believe that all of the world is going to hell if they don't hear the message of the gospel, even they don't go up to people and say the gospel, because that would be socially embarrassing or whatever. I mean, they know. So stop giving credit to forgiveness, or like that's a reality in our lives. Like, that's one of the people in our lives. Like, humility, like, this is something we should blame. I don't know. It's not. It'll just shift to something else if we didn't like forgiveness or humility. It would just be another word. Currency. That's what this is about. I don't like currently. I attack the thing currently that we are using. It'll shift to something else in the future, but I'm like, let's tear down that one. Let's tear down forgiveness now, as long as that's a false reality in front of me that I can attack. I'm not like, it's futile. It's futile. I'm going to die anyway, despite all of my efforts, despite all of the things I say. It's futile. Forgiveness is more than saying sorry. It's just that, like, same as humility, it's already there. I already forgive people. It's like, we're all forgiving everyone all the time. You don't need to talk about it, basically. I'm talking about it now to attack it, which is something that nobody does. So, yes, people should talk about it in a negative way, because it's just, like, only positive press for humility. The idea of being humiliated is something that we all decided is a really, like, it's only good things are ever said about this loserly quality. Like, forgiveness is ridiculous. No, I'm just telling you, I don't value that, because I forgive anyway. It's already happening. I value something more, well, apparently I value whatever word will replace forgiveness in the future, or it's like, they named Rhode Island, the capital of Rhode Island, Providence, because, like, providence was really big at the time. It was just like a big idea, a big concept, like the way that empathy is right now. It'd be like, because then they were so godly and like instituting God and churchiness with the establishment of their colonies and their like first settlements and stuff. Like God is all intertwined with all that, and it's all about like God's providence. I mean, it's like really Puritan that there's a city called Providence because it's like as a result of the Puritans at the time, and and we don't talk about providence anymore. We don't care. So like that'll be forgiveness in 200 years. We won't care about forgiveness anymore. But I'm just telling you right now, since it is relevant, that's like one of the things people get all giddy about is humility. We all get to like we all have to have that and stuff, but Christmas is a fake day of the year because it's a fake holiday, and Christmas crit. Apologizing is also a similar thing. Like I wouldn't be given over to like doing apologies. I'm sorry. That's what everybody says right now. That's a big one amongst like the thing that a fast food worker will tell you. They're all, or just like a worker in a store. That's what workers are on about. They're just saying sorry. Like they're in the position. Will you say sorry? You're in the position to condescend. I'm sorry. It's a power move. A lot. And I mean, I don't know what the logistics of what causes it to be said by the masses, by everybody. What causes it to be a common word said by everybody at a moment in time. That's really popular. Oh, somebody said sorry for your wait to me the other day when I was waiting like 30 seconds, and that was even worse than if somebody said sorry. That it makes me think momentarily like, oh, was I looking like was I all huffing and puffing over here? Was I in a rush? That's what it makes me think immediately. And I don't know how sensitive other people are to that, but it doesn't like, I mean, I'm definitely sensitive, and I do think about criticism more than other people. But so I was gonna bring up an example of like, I mean, I'm just like anxious every day of my life. I've never really been that popular. Like it's kind of been the same thing. It's kind of been the same thing every day of my life. It's kind of been the same thing. It's like I'm a little bit liberal, and the Christianity that is like present in my life all the time is of Christian people I know, or just like because I went to church for so many years. So you're like cursed with if you like devoutly go to church and really believe in that. I mean, like I was a really good person when I was a kid. I kind of live in contrast to what, like, you're not supposed to be a bad adult. Not that I aim to be a bad adult, but that's completely off the radar. You can be like a bad kid, like kids cause trouble. And it's like when I was a kid, I was very good. And in comparison, because I understood that like, well, kids are usually cause trouble, but like I'm a shining godly example of like a real Christian boy. And when I was like a kid, but like as I got older, and I was drinking a lot in college, once I found alcohol, that started to go out the window when I was 20 years old. So like I've said before, like I stopped being a Christian when I was 25. I should clarify that I was drinking. I mean, I was doing stuff that I would deem to be like really unchristian for years before that. But like up until I was about, like I was just very like a good person until I was 18. And then I mean, like, but even then, it's like it was a front or something. Like, I mean, like, I was doing it to win a game. I'm the same person no matter what. I'm always just trying to win a game. But once I realized I just like don't realize the rules of the game that I want to be playing, or I don't realize the game that I'm just like, the game keeps expanding, like, oh, the game is much bigger than I thought it was, or whatever. Like, it used to be take place in this confined space of like the Christian world, and then now the game, like, once I recognize the greater levels of the game, I have to play the game, and I want to win the game. But like, I mean, like, I'm just generally like anxious and depressed a lot of the days of my life. Like, every day it's kind of the same thing for years and years. Like, when I was in youth group, it's like was I popular in the church, or was I popular? I mean, like, I shouldn't say that I switched, as I mentioned before. I've been the same person every day. I wasn't that popular in my youth group, even though I was one of the singers. I sang in the youth group, but I was like, oh, because I'm a singer, that doesn't mean like I'm one of the popular kids here. That's something I thought about. It's like, I wouldn't want it. I want to be like lowly anyway. That was a choice I made, you know? It's a choice I make to be unpopular. It's just be out of the kindness of my heart, as you well know. But of course, it's all about the good. But like, nowadays, it's like, I'm telling you this about Trump. I find that I don't like people's rules, and it's like, I'm just like a bad adult because I don't go by the standards I'm supposed to go by in comparison to like peers that I have in the church or not in the church that are all like, we know you're supposed to follow the rules. You're not supposed to be a bad adult. Like, that's a lot uglier than being a bad kid. So like, what I'm saying is that I'm the same person every day of my life, constantly like trying to live in contrast to what's expected of me, or something like that. Not that I try to do that. It's just a thing that I do. So it's like nothing really, in some senses, nothing switched when I stopped being a Christian. And I have to say that because that's like what I'm always saying that on this podcast, is like, it's switched. I was like, oh, I was a Christian, but now it's different. I should really emphasize the other 50% of the truth of it, which is like, I was the same. I was the goddamn same, you know? But like, Christmas is a fake day of the year. It's like Venezuela. I wanted to talk about that because there's only one other country that, like, the literal translation of their name, their word little is in it. And that is Luxembourg. Luxembourg means little fort. Little fart. Luxembourg means little fart. Little fortress is Luxembourg. Liechtenstein is smaller than Luxembourg. Liechtenstein should be little fart. But Little Bear, word association. Remember that? Is that what that show is called? It's like Little Bear. The main character was like the only one not named an animal, I think, is how that went. Wasn't like Little Bear wasn't named Bear, because in the show Franklin, the bear was just Bear. But in Little Bear, he was like named some other shit. I don't know, trip down memory lane, I guess. I don't know what that's for. I don't know why I said it. It's like it's like the hangover. I'm in the hangover stage now after saying that about Little Bear. It's like what you regret from the night before, and now I'm like, oh wow, shouldn't have said that, but really upset some folks with that one. But basically, Venezuela is. I need to tell you that Venezuela is doing so shitty right now. And I think it's because of their name. And I think that a name is really important. And when I was on here and I was saying like I was making fun of like my name, like, oh, who cares about Matt Connor? Or, like, who fucking cares about that guy? I was saying that at the end of one of my episodes, and I say that because I've been around. I have the authority to say that because none of you would have because I've been around this guy every day of my life. Every thought that he's had, like I've sat through so much. Whatever, like all the thoughts that are going on in my head, so much crap and so much whatever. Of course, I couldn't do anything other than love myself. Like, do people really hate themselves? How could you when you are the only one that sees all you see? You're the only one that can read your thoughts, and also you read and you hear every single one of them that you hear. Well, I guess like some people have thoughts and they don't even listen to them. Maybe I love myself more than other people because I read all of my thoughts. Like I hear all my thoughts, you know? It's like I think they're valid. That's because I'm open-minded just in general. I do that with other people as well. I hear out people that are castaways, whatever, cast-offs, generally. And so like I do that with my own thoughts. Like I hear all of it. So I couldn't possibly do anything other than love myself because like I've been here every minute with the guy. So like of course I'm allowed to take 5 minutes away to be like fuck him, you know. And more people should do that because in contrast to like to joke about it. Of course, I mean, I would make fun of myself the same way as somebody who I liked or whatever. And so like that's a healthier way of going about things if you're in a position to be like, fuck myself, fuck my name and whoever, everything that he does, everything he tries to do. Like, it doesn't have to be that meaningful or like you have to really mean it, but like in contrast to like, you can't love others unless you love yourself. But I do like, don't people love themselves anyway? Like, come on. You don't love yourself. Who's going to make that judgment? It's the same as people being like, you don't have empathy. Who would ever possibly be able to make that judgment about another person? You don't read their thoughts. Empathy is just something that happens like so silently. It's just so like a person caring about another person, like everybody has to be sensitive or like mindful to some degree of like other people, even the people that are the least considerate. Probably being considerate is better than empathy, in my opinion. Or I mean, I guess they're the same, but like, basically the name is important. If Venezuela names itself Little Venice, that ain't good for them because they're beholden to Europe. Venice is a European city, and that's what they're trying to gain their independence from, is European influence. I mean, they already gained their independence from it, but they'll be in a state of things where they're like reverting back to the past or like blaming themselves for shit. If you're like, if that's your name, I think Venezuela's kind of fucked. And they were like prosperous for a while, but I don't think that they have a good future, Venezuela, as long as their name is Little Venice. I'm serious. It's just that right next to them you have Colombia. Colombia is named after Christopher Columbus, and that is much better. That's the Western Hemisphere. Christopher Columbus is a mainstay. The success. Nobody is more successful in history besides like Jesus than Christopher Columbus, basically. He's even more successful, maybe Amerigo Vespucci, but Columbus is like even more memorable, more remembered in history than Amerigo Vespucci. Christopher Columbus like discovered the Western Hemisphere. We give him credit for that. He's not even the guy that discovered it, but he was the first like white Christian to discover it. Or we're like, okay, we'll give you the power of narrative over like the Vikings or whatever. They don't believe, they're not part of a big standardized religion, and so the narration cannot congeal around them at all, or whatever the word, like they can't metastasize around them. The narration can metastasize around an individual. It's hard, but only if they were Christian and commissioned by standardized governments like the king and queen. Commissioned by a king and queen also helps. It's like very standardized shit was all around that guy, and so that's why he becomes a standard historically. And so Christopher Columbus, you're named after Columbus. I live in Columbus, Ohio. Columbus is basically a prosperous, economically thriving city as far as I know. And it's a good idea to be named after Columbus. It is a bad idea to be named Little Venice when you're like, we gain independence from Europe like all the other countries in South America. It's like they're a step behind all those other countries. And what I want to bring up especially was that Hugo Chavez came into power and he was like, he established the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela. It's like when Venezuela first gained their independence, or when they were trying to, they're like, this is the Republic of Venezuela. And then they had to establish the Second Republic of Venezuela, and then they had to establish the third, because they had a couple times where they're like, now we're independent or whatever. And they keep making constitutions. And Venezuela has made more constitutions than any other South American country. 26 of them is what the ChatGPT told me. I don't know if that was accurate, but it must be somewhere around there. Venezuela made 26 constitutions. That means that they are not constituted. That's in comparison to America at the same time, one constitution. That's why that's just goes hand in hand with why America is so rich. Venezuela is in dire straits. Like, this is why Venezuela is doing bad. Because they are not standardized. They keep having to no, they don't even know who they are. And it has to do with your name is, I think it has to do with your name is Little Venice. Colombia, I think, is going to have a perfectly fine future because they're named after, a very successful guy and is very Western Hemisphere is what they are. Venezuela has an identity crisis, and that's nothing more encapsulates that than when Hugo Chavez came into power and then he established the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, which is the same thing as the Fifth Republic of Venezuela. He's like, no, we're the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela. That's what he's the president. He's like, that's what we're called now. And the problem with that is that there's already a country called Bolivia because he's naming it after Simon Bolivar, however you pronounce his name. The Simon Bolivar is the main historical figure in South America. There's one or two really big George Washington figures for South America. Bolivar, I believe, is the George Washington of South America. And Bolivia already took his name. And Venezuela's we're the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela. They decided that in 1999. It's you can't fucking do that. There's already Bolivia. You're already Venezuela. You can't. That's so. The reason I say that is just how cheap it is, how lame that is. I hated Hugo Chavez when I found that out. It was I fucking hate that little loser. And because because of the unoriginality, because it's the stupidity. You're already a fucking country, and Bolivia is basically borders you. You are already more successful than Bolivia anyway. The Bolivarian Republic of we already know about Simon Bolivar or whatever. For some reason, it just made me angry about Hugo Chavez. And then the guy that came after him, his name is Nicolas Madurin, or I think. I don't quite remember. I think Madurin, but he's just the appointee. He's just a second Hugo Chavez, and every one of their elections is a lie, and there's way more so than here. But they just they don't have stability because they have a million constitutions. America, one constitution. I don't know. Venezuela is also Christian, I believe. They're Catholic. It's better to have one constitution. It's better to have one. In this world, the way that it's treated, you can't keep changing your name. We don't like the identity crisis. Conservatives run the world. It's a conservative world. Conservatives want you to have one name. The world wants you to have one name. That's why you have one name your entire life. And if you're somebody who's I changed my name entirely, Well, I mean, celebrities do it, but they're pretty worldly. It's more worldly to change identities. I mean, I guess people do successfully change identities. Lots of celebrities do that to be like their famous name is something other than their regular name, you know. But Jesus' real birthday is New Year's Day. It's not Christmas. I told my family I'm not coming back for Christmas, coming back for New Year's Day. Jesus' real birthday is New Year's Day. I don't know why nobody points this out. I'm just like speaking really. It's not realistically. It's not a conspiracy theory to say that. It's not even a theory. It's just the fact. It's that your birthday, by definition, is the day that we count. It's the day we memorialize to be like we count another one of your years on this day. It's not even your birthday. It's like 22 years after your birthday is not your birthday because you weren't born 22 years after you were born. It's your anniversary. So anniversary is only for a wedding. It's for one thing. It's for your wedding day. We wouldn't call it your wedding day 22 years after your wedding day. It's like it's your wedding day. That's what we do with birthdays. But it's like no, the anniversary is only for weddings for some reason. It's this. We should call a birthday an anniversary. Anniversary is not getting enough credit. Anniversary has more utility than we are using it for. Is like we are really like anniversary does that thing and does it more accurately than birthday. Birthday is not an accurate term. Now you're a baby. Now you were born yesterday. If it was your birthday yesterday, what was I born yesterday? Well, was yesterday your birthday? Then by definition, by the way that the terms that we use, yeah. The day that, okay, so like that's fucking fine if you want to misuse, like, oh, it's not the day you were born, but yeah, sure, that's your birthday. But that means that New Year's Day is Jesus' birthday because 0 is the day that we credit him as being born, even though he was born that like 1 or 2 or whatever. 0 is the day that he is born. As far as we know. I mean, that's the way that we treat it. And so this year, a New Year's Day, when it's 2026, that'll be 2026 years exactly to the day that Jesus was born. That's his birthday. Christmas is not his fucking birthday. That's a lie. And I shouldn't even have to tolerate anybody telling me that that's his birthday. Ain't nobody like... But of course, I would be the crazy one to be like, that's not Jesus' birthday. But it's just a fact. Also, he was born in April. When he already has New Year's Day as his birthday, why is there... Now he has a second birthday a week before his birthday. What kind of LSD nonsense is going on? Only the kind of, like... What kind of acid trip is going on? Only the kind that includes, like, oh, there's this guy named Santa Claus. He goes around the whole world. And, and the Grinch. Like, of course, there's, like, a Dr. Seuss element to it, too. Like... That's so acid trippy. Of course, the Grinch is getting thrown in with all of that, or like that's an accepted tradition with it. It's like, oh yeah, we love the Grinch too because that's just fucking nuts. That world that the Grinch lives in, because it's pretty confined. There ain't even what cities exist outside of Whoville even? Like, I think that there's other stories that speak to it, but like I don't think that world is not very big. But Christmas is like it's nonsense. It's not. That's a fake holiday. That's the fakest day of the year, and it's sort of like a day that we use to like we centralize giving gifts, and now you don't have the pressure of like I could give a gift any day of the year. It's like Christmas is the day we give the gifts. We shouldn't have a day where we do that. Because generosity should reign supreme. Generosity should happen instead. I mean, like, the pressure, it's just like now everybody is the same in the area of gift giving. Make everybody the same. We centralize that. We centralize getting together with loved ones. Now you don't have to get together with your loved ones every day of the year. It's like now you could just visit, like holidays, make it that like, now it's easier for everybody. It's like governmental overreach. It's like government overreach that they impose this, like, we're all children. We need somebody to tell us there's a day we get together. We need someone to tell us there's a day we give gifts. And that it's all centered around, like, this is Jesus' birthday just makes me want to say that that is complete bullshit. We need more people standing up to Christmas. We need more people like me being like, well, Christmas is bullshit. It's the fakest day of the year. And then, of course, then there's like, whatever, Santa comes out. But there's some bigger thing at play that it's making up for. It's something that it's hiding, that people need to be like, oh, no, this is Jesus' birthday. The entire world needs to go forward with this lie. And it's like, you would think that the internet would have exposed this by now, or it would have pointed out, like, oh, no, New Year's Day is Jesus' birthday. It's just that whatever group of people is narrating it to not be that way, there's a story that needs to be narrated. It's the same story that makes it that there are never... UFOs are talk of crazy... That's for crazy people talk. It's that same... Within that same story, it's a very limited story that we live in. And it's full of lies and secrets, and it's covering up for something bigger. Where it's like, yeah, there are UFOs. There's nothing but evidence of it, of course. The Pentagon will even confirm, yeah, we have UFOs. But it's like, oh, no, you're only ever a lunatic to talk about that or talk about the paranormal. It's like, no, the paranormal doesn't exist. Like, we continue to have to live in this world where we're all children and we're not going to be open to, like, the really extravagant the possibilities are completely fucking endless. They're as big as the universe that we haven't explored any of. For people to be like, oh, we know how it is, or that there's a story that we control. What goes along with that is like, I mean, to continue the lie that supernatural is not very massive and very supernatural as it actually is. Actually, it's very limited, and we can write it off like it's bullshit, like we know who God is, or whatever. Like, us as a world to go around acting like that we would have a relationship with God, or we would control that in any way, that we know what God is. In reality, it's just like so selfish and conceited and like God complex superiority-ish thinking to be like, I talk to God, or like, I know God made it this way. In reality, we don't know anything about we're too dumb to know the vast levels of intelligence that exist above us. And we shouldn't be walking around saying we talk to God. But like, or the supernatural, that we act like the supernatural is like a sin or just like a bad thing, that we know that we get to judge that as like, you're crazy for saying UFO. We know that there aren't UFOs. Like, we know that the universe isn't endlessly expansive. Or like, we know what forever is. We know what eternity is. That's evil to act like you know what forever and ever is when you have no evidence for what's even happening a minute from now. So that people act like they could write that off, or write off God, or they act like that's something they know about is ridiculous. And that is just the world we live in, and it's present with us every day. What goes along with that is like, for some reason, this is central to the story that people need, and to like make a Christmas, and then like nobody refutes it, nobody argues it, like, oh, that's Jesus's birthday. I'm saying, like, when you have a lie that's right there out in the open. We take back the supernatural when it starts with Christmas. We start with recognizing Christmas is the fakest day of the year. And I'm not going back. Maybe I will never celebrate Christmas ever. I'll go back and celebrate Jesus' birthday, New Year's Day, the real one. Real day. We count his years because he's the guy that's still alive. He's still alive. That's why we count his years, because we treat it like he's still alive. It's like, he's been alive 2,026 years. You know, the world gives him credit for rising from the dead, whether you like it or not. That's the way it is. That's just a fact. It's not a theory. That's it. And so why does he get two birthdays? He's born again for some reason. It's just kind of has to do with like, what is the conspiracy that Christmas and New Year's is covering up? I don't exactly know what it is, but I'll speak to it now. It has to do with polarity. It has to do with, like, there's a reason that Santa Claus, the Christmas one, is celebrated. Lives at the North Pole. It has to do with the poles. I think that people live within the earth. There are civilizations that live within the earth. It's possible that there are openings at the North and South Pole to go to within the earth. Possibly. I don't know that that's true, but I have faith that there is, and I have faith that there is because it's like, if it's not true, it's not going to kill me, because that's just like a fun thing to go on about. It's a fun little belief I have. It's not very serious, but as far as I know, since I don't have any evidence and nobody does, so nobody has evidence that there's a God in heaven, and that they're going to heaven, but people believe that forever. But it's like, no, I don't have evidence that people live within the earth for sure, but like, people have spoken to it, people have found it and reported back. Anyway, it has to do with polarity. It has to do with like Christmas and New Year's Day has to do with polarity. And I would say that Christmas represents the North Pole and New Year's Day represents the South Pole, basically. And it's speaking to two halves of polarity that we don't get to speak about within humans. And so like we can use Christ as perfect and we can blame all of our sins and shit on him. And so we get to see him as having two halves. So he has two birthdays. One of them is his real birthday. One of it is his fake birthday. And that's the way that all humans are. They're bipolar like that. Bipolar is kind of a sin to be that. Or like, it's like a mental illness. Christmas, that time of year is the time of year for us to celebrate polarity. And those are the two ends of the year. Pretty much. And like when the year ends, it's not just that a new year is beginning, it's that the old year is ending, and that is two polar opposites, like the beginning of a life and the end of a life. And we conjoin them to be like, so it goes in a circle, you know? So we don't recognize like the two halves generally. And that is kind of a way of us trying to articulate the two halves of the year. Is that Christmas and New Year's Day, and like we use Jesus to be able to articulate that because we don't see ourselves to be good enough for whatever reason. I don't agree with that, but that's the way that it is. It's like we allow Jesus to be the guy to take the fall for like polarity, having two halves, because everybody has a real side and a fake side, and that's something that we should speak about more. It's like we talk about people always like they're one person, and if you're like two halves, then you're crazy, you're bipolar. Everybody is two halves. Everybody is real and fake. They have the fake part of themselves and the real part of themselves. And should everybody get two birthdays? No, I don't know that a birthday is really the important thing, but like all that to say that is that Christmas is the fakest day of the year. It's nothing but fake. It's so for pretend that we. Like when other time do we like hearing the same song 100 times? Like we need to hear 25 different versions of Baby It's Cold Outside and people still like it. That's what is going on? How come that's not the way that music is supposed to be? There's like this very strange thing. Christmas is so strange. Strange things are happening around Christmas. And it's like, it's as weird as whatever's happening at the North and South Pole, in my opinion. But it has to do with polarity and like the two ends of the year and us speaking to that. So like it's inevitable that would happen, but I guess and so it's covering up for like that's part of the narrative. As long as the two halves of the year and the polarity of the earth, where it's like, if you could go to the poles, you might find something like really profound that would totally alter the story as we know it. I think that there are things that would change the world as we know it, like drastically, that could happen, that a lot of them aren't happening because we keep smoothing all of it over with like, we have to have this same single narrative. And it's just like, it's just easy to use Jesus, you know? And it's easy to use Santa to be like, that's why we're doing Christmas, or like that's why we give gifts. I don't know why people have problems just like being generous and giving gifts. Otherwise, we need Santa to be like, or I don't know. That guy is obviously fictional, but like, what does it represent? It has to represent something. And that he's at the North Pole, it has to represent something bigger. Otherwise, what does it mean? Because nobody's ever, why does that live on? I know that he like was a historical figure, but he wasn't a guy that went to, like, he wasn't a guy that went to every house in one night. What's the reason for that? What does it represent? You don't create that for, I'm just somebody who believes that if that story does exist and you don't know what it means, it's just like it's a translation of something real that is happening. It's a metaphor for something real. That's what I believe. That's what I believe about horror movies as well. And the ones that are more successful, they're speaking to something really horrific that you're not allowed, that we can't articulate, but it's like it happens horrifically in some sense, in some regard, in some scenario, the same way. It's just like you need a horror movie to represent it. Like a horror movie is a way that we are allowed to speak to that in the world. Like everything is represented. All the shit that's popular is just kind of like a representative. It's a placeholder. It's a token for something else. Like politics is a token. It's a placeholder for philosophy and for theory, for just having wild, weird, crazy theories. You're allowed to have weird, crazy theories under the name politics because that's where the world meets the crazy people. That's like the world. Politics meets people where they're at because that's like how it practically ensues in the world. And so like whatever the fuck is happening at the North Pole is so crazy that the only way that we are able to practically make sense of that in the world with our limited story that we're allowed to have now, the only way we're allowed to make sense of that is like this weirdo tale about Santa and his elves and whatever. I mean, you hear all kinds of reports of like, I mean, that's a big part of the lore. The further you go north and around the Arctic Circle is like tales of elves. And like in Iceland, they had to build their road around this one area because the locals in Iceland are like, no, you can't build through there. There's elves there. It's like the further you go north is the more you hear reports of like elves for whatever. For whatever reason, that lore and like the movie, that's why The Northman is the last thing that I saw in theaters. I was like, I hear it's about mythology and about the North Pole. I'm very interested in further and further north, but like none of us can access that. So it's like, that's part of the secret. So like, it's so inaccessible, whatever this thing I'm talking to, like whatever we're speaking to by bringing up Santa and the North Pole, I feel like we're trying to access that. And like, that's our attempt to like, we're bringing up, I don't know. I think so. But like that's and the Grinch Who Stole Christmas and all that. It's an acid trip, I think. That it's like we're combining all of this shit with like Jesus and like what is it that it's about exactly? And it's not even Jesus's birthday, not like he was born in April and there's another day that's his birthday, but we're calling it his birthday. And we're saying, and like adults need to tell this fucking shit to kids, like that's why you're getting gifts. You know what I mean? Oh, we can't give you gifts otherwise. Why do they feel guilty about why there needs to be a day, there needs to be a guy like Jesus taking the blame for it. So, now there's a reason you're getting gifts because whatever. And you had to be good too. I don't really know, but I'm getting at something bigger. It's relatively true what I'm saying. That's the way that we should treat things. We shouldn't be like, I know God. Yeah, I know God. I'm going to be with him forever. I know forever. That's preposterous. It should be more like, there might be people living within the earth. That should be more the thing that we do. But look, I don't make the whatever about it, but I appreciate it. Thank you for listening to my little special hour of the fun that I have. I appreciate it very much so. Thank you. And I will talk about something else next time. And let me make sure I got done talking about Venezuela like I wanted to. Yes, Columbus it's in the name. The name that you have is important. But whatever. Thank you. And talk to you all later. Goodbye.